You saw what happened there, right? That was sarcasm. It's not just a smart remark. It's actually a whole psychological process. So why do we use sarcasm? What really happens in our brains when we use it? Let's get into the science of it. And if you're a person who uses sarcasm too often and just can't figure out why, or maybe you're a person who doesn't know why people around you use sarcasm to express themselves, this video is for you. Hi, I am Janvi and I love to figure out why we do things we choose to do. Like what just happens in our brains when we do it? Why we do it? You know, all of that. And I love to quote research, so you know that this is not just baseless assumptions that I'm putting out here. So join me and let's figure out why we use sarcasm. Why is it so appealing? To understand the construct of it, let's build on the basic idea that people use sarcasm as a remark that clearly means the opposite of what they just said. Well, it's used as a subtle way of hurting someone's feelings or criticizing them in a somewhat humorous way. Sometimes it's used to point out someone's flaws or bash them or criticize them, and the other times it's just for a few laughs here and there. I mean, the word sarcasm comes from a Greek word meaning to tear flesh. So I think it's pretty obvious that it's supposed to sting a little bit. Sarcasm is so ingrained in how we communicate these days that it's almost like our default setting nowadays. In fact, John Heyman, a linguist, pointed out that in today's world, sarcasm is practically our main language. A study even found that 23% of the time when Americans said, "Yeah, right," they were actually being sarcastic. I mean, don't you think that's a lot of side-eye packed into everyday conversations? But why are we so drawn to sarcasm? For many, it's a sneaky, passive-aggressive way to express anger. Like for people who avoid direct confrontation, they often lean on sarcasm to let their feelings out. It's a way to disagree without starting like a full-blown argument, which also gives them a socially acceptable, safe space to vent out their feelings. It's like saying, I am literally so annoyed by you right now, but let's keep it light, sort of. And even though it's everywhere, we still don't know a lot about it. What we do know though, is that sarcasm makes us think a little bit harder. It makes us creative, and as we now know, it also helps us deal with anger better. It's not just about being clever. It's like an emotional release with a side of humor to it. It's funny to think that sarcasm is literally like the Swiss Army knife of communication. Like, we go through life expecting things to turn out great, right? Right? But when they don't, sarcasm gives us a way to handle it better. To, handle the letdown better. Penny Pexman, a psychologist from University of Calgary who spent 20 years studying sarcasm, explains that a sarcastic remark lets us voice both our expectations and our disappointment at the same time. Imagine you throw a party, right? And only a handful of your friends show up. You say that, "And we thought there wasn't going to be enough wine," when you hoped for a bigger crowd, but only half of them chose to show up, and now you're just expressing your feelings without being very mean to other people. Very interestingly, a study shows that we use sarcastic irony with people who we know extremely well. In these moments, it acts as a face saver for us, where we can actually say what we feel, but also be less direct or confrontational. I hope you note that humor does not do much of the heavy lifting here. It's actually the indirectness of sarcasm that helps the critique feel less harsh and more socially acceptable. Sarcastic expressions are often like a recipe. Add a cup of frustration, add also a cup of humor, and you got sarcasm. Of course, everyone's recipe is a little different. It actually depends on who's cooking and and who's getting served. And we've just scratched the surface of sarcasm. In the next video, we look into what really happens in our brains when we use this medium of expression, and also how you can wield it effectively in your relationships. Because trust me, sometimes it does more harm than good. So stay tuned, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.